If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch and feed them.
To buy our merch. Whoops.
What?
My microphone just went off. Right now,
why did you ask me about Venom?
Because there's currently something on the desk that literally looks like it came off of Venom. I don't know what it is, and it looks disgusting. Ladies and gentlemen, we are doing a DJ stream for the big homie Nick. Whoop. Down in the corner, this side or that side, I don't know. I can't see the screen.
Yes, sir, Bobbers.
But the next song on his...
DJ Nick is right there.
He's right here. Right by me. What's up, Nick? Shinedown is the next song on our list. It's Planet Zero is the name of the song. So I've never heard of Shinedown before. Have you?
I don't know. We might have done a song from them. I'm not sure.
Shinedown. Lies, Vin. We did no such song. We did no such thing.
No such thing. Okay.
Nope.
Shinedown.
I don't believe so.
Planet Zero. Vin and Sori. DJ Nick.
Oh, we did. We did one. You were right. Simple Man. We did Simple Man. Oh, no. Okay, well, this is our second song by them.
Down here on Planet Zero, they swing that devil hard. No words, no peace, no advocate, no signs of life so far.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. This is interesting. So you're just putting a bunch of new songs for us here. Planet Zero is the first single from Shinedown's 7th studio album, Planet Zero. The song was premiered on January 26, 2022, 2 days before yours truly's birthday.
Before. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Shinedown's bass player nicknamed America Planet Zero after the pandemic started. So Planet Zero is America, which I surmise from the lyrical content.
Yep.
This is another song highlighting the cancel culture. Cancel
culture. Yeah.
Cancer culture stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The latest victim of cancel culture is
Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi. And the whole Whoopi Goldberg situation to me highlights the hypocrisy on both sides. To me.
Oh, well, yeah.
Because, Ben Shapiro and all those folks on the right, they're always complaining about cancel culture and how liberals or leftists, those on the left, which I don't understand how you can even categorize Whoopi Goldberg as being a leftist, but whatever. Mm-hmm. He's always complaining that they're trying to cancel people. Mm-hmm. And then Whoopi has the audacity to say that the Holocaust wasn't about race. So now Ben Shapiro wants her canceled because now he's taking that as a slight to his folks and saying it's anti-Semitic. When every time one of our folks gets blasted on TV, he says it's not about race. And then when people call him a racist, he laughs at it. Conversely, Whoopi has spent the last week or so, 2 weeks, at least implying that Joe Rogan should be canceled. She's like one of the biggest advocates for people getting canceled and suspended or whatnot.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, that makes me feel better.
She's apparently livid that her network even had the audacity to cancel. To suspend her.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I would be shocked if I was her as well. I mean, she's been a staple in a lot of communities for a very long time.
To me, I'm laughing at both of them. To me, it's like this situation exposes a hypocrisy for both of them. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know, Whoopi, maybe you should have been a little less eager to say that a guy like Rogan and all these other people should be canceled. And I don't know, Mr. Shapiro, maybe the next time you're laughing at people in pain, you should think differently. Mm-hmm. I agree. I can't stand either one of those people. Fuck them both. But I'm just saying, it's just funny to me. It's the whole thing is hilarious.
Yeah, it is, and it's a mess too because this response is so immature that we can't talk stuff through. We just cancel people.
I know. It's so childish.
It's like blocking, unfriending. You know what I mean? Like.
It's so childish.
Yeah,
no. Blocking and unfriending is cool.
No, I'm saying
that's an individual decision I made. You don't go to Facebook and say this person should never be able to post again. That's cancel culture to me.
Yeah, I hear that. I just think when instead of people like addressing things with other people, they'll like block them or delete them and stuff like that instead of trying. Like there's times where you can try and you can see that the conversation's not going to go anywhere and it's not good for your mental health to continue to have these people commenting under your stuff. But a lot of people, like the minute somebody says something that like they don't like in a little slight, they'll just block them. They'll just cancel them. Everybody's just like very quick to do that. But then when you have it as a whole and it's becoming our whole culture and its whole organizations, it's a really crazy situation.
Yeah, but again, I don't have a problem with a person making an individual decision. I don't have a problem with that.
Yes, I know you don't. I'm saying that when people do that without even trying to engage, people say something that's like a little bit offensive to them, and then they block and they boycott and they do everything. Instead of us as individuals having conversation about stuff, it's just society as a whole. We don't discuss stuff. People just, if you say something that's a little sideways, they'll just block you and delete you and, like there's somebody that like that person should be in contact with me, but they deleted me. And then, when I was trying to message them about something extremely relevant and something important to them, they were like, who's this? It's like, well, why would you have done that? So immature. And you're like twice my age. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, but the thing about cancel culture to me though is you're talking about it's bigger than just being an immature individual because you're talking about destroying people's livelihoods.
Yeah.
You're talking about ending people's careers.
Yep.
You're taking a guy like Joe Rogan, who millions of people enjoy listening to.
Yep.
Whether I agree with him or not, you're trying to eliminate those people's access that they really enjoy.
Yep.
That's the thing is you start making decisions for other people. Mm-hmm. That's my problem.
It's pretty selfish.
And Skull Cowboy, listen, man. Social Marxism in any form leads to death, and cancer culture is a part of that. Skull Cowboy, first of all, it was the religious right that were the masters of cancel culture in the 90s, right? They were the ones that were boycotting Marilyn Manson. They were the ones that were getting Marilyn Manson concerts canceled.
Yep.
They're the ones that were telling us to boycott Starbucks because they wouldn't say Merry Christmas. Mm-hmm. So were those hard right people in the 90s? Were they Marxists? Were they cultural Marxists? But this is why we shouldn't cancel people, because let's have these discussions and let's think these things through. Like for me with Joe Rogan, my problem with Rogan wasn't necessarily that he had McCullough and Malone on, because as I said in the yesterday, they both got on and said we believe in vaccinations like polio, mumps, measles, rubella, that type of thing. What's up, Delaney? They all said they believed in that. So these guys are not what you would classify as anti-vaxxers. Now, an anti-vaxxer is going to jump on a few isolated comments that Malone and McCullough said. But if you look at what those two doctors said in context, some of the stuff I don't agree with, but it was still a very measured, nuanced understanding of what's happening right now in regard to the situation. What I would have loved is for him to spend 3 hours with another doctor of a contrary opinion. Yep. That was my only problem with Rogan, is that he's clearly chosen a side in this discussion. He's not just bringing people on who he thinks are interesting. He's chosen a side in this discussion.
And he's using his platform.
He's not giving a fair shake on the other side, in my opinion. But that's his freaking podcast.
Exactly.
And I don't think that they were saying anything irresponsible, but Whoopi and the rest of all these people are saying, oh, he's responsible for the deaths of all that. Come on, man. Like, ridiculous. But then they won't come out and say Fauci's responsible for deaths. He was the one telling us not to wear masks at the beginning of this thing. So
I don't like that guy.
And what people don't understand is that it's the parlor effect, I call it, where Facebook and Twitter obviously colluded to purge all the Trump supporters or the violent strain of Trump supporters from their platforms, and they all coagulated on Parler, and Parler had no restrictions, and it was a giant echo chamber. So you had people literally planning to murder other people, murder political figures in our country on January 6th. We reported on that like a day or two after, and I was showing everybody screenshots of Lynn Wood, who was saying it's time to sacrifice your blood and your property, yada, 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 let's go do this shit.
Yep.
Where you're talking about real danger here. And I also posted how, as they were storming the Capitol, they were saying Nancy Pelosi's asking for National Guard. She was denied. And I asked the question, how the fuck did they know that? And why did it take an hour and a half for Mr. Trump to deploy the National Guard? Like, those are serious issues, but that's what happens when you excise these people from the marketplace of ideas. The internet is too big for you to manage unless you're going to do the China thing. Unless you're going to be China. I think that these big tech companies need to figure out a different methodology, because this shit is not working. It's just not working. So, I think we're going to learn. I think we're going to learn eventually, or they're going to learn. But good Lord. No, Space, you're wrong. The liberals did not start the cancel culture BS. I don't know if you were around in the 90s when the right-wing Christians were saying that everybody from Marilyn Manson to Ellen DeGeneres' show was essentially canceled when she came out as gay. And it was the religious right, led by Jerry Falwell, who were encouraging. See, part of this is people were not listening to Christian radio in the 90s. They didn't understand. You guys don't understand the moral majority with Jerry Falwell and all the rest of it. These guys were canceling any and everybody that disagreed with their with their perspective.
Boycott this, boycott that, boycott.
Yeah. So
that's how I first learned the word boycott.
Correct.
Was my parents talking? Well, my mom talking about boycotting.
Correct.
And I'm pretty sure it was because Jerry Falwell was the one heading that up.
Correct. We came up in that context, so we know we were there when these people
we were at ground zero.
The whole vote with your wallet thing and all this.
Yeah.
We were at ground zero.
Yep.
It was right-wing Christians who were canceling everybody in the 90s.
Yep.
It was the left that was saying, come on, guys, freedom of speech, Marilyn Manson. It's switched now, but everybody has such a short memory. It's only the leftists. No, this has been happening, at least in our consciousness, since the mid 90s, early 2000s, and it was a Christian right that was doing it.
Yep.
So, it was one of those situations, and where now the shit is because of social media. Social media, amplifies everything exponentially. So now, instead of one specific group of people doing this now, or one specific target like Marilyn Manson or Ellen DeGeneres or whatever.
Yep.
Now it's 5 or 6 people that people are going after, and now because you have Twitter and Facebook, people make the mistake because they think that they're behind closed doors. They think that they still have some sort of, because especially in Maine, people have a public persona and a private persona. They relate to black folks publicly one way, and then when they get behind closed doors, they relate to it another way. And I think psychologically, they're behind closed doors when they're typing, so they still think they're behind closed doors.
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay, that's what you really think. Okay, cool. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So now people, and I'm always a believer in, I want to know exactly where you are. Right? If you're a racist bastard and you don't think that black coaches are intelligent enough to coach in the NFL, just say it. And I'm never going to be mad at somebody for speaking their truth. You see what I'm saying? But what happens is, now that people are actually revealing the honest inner workings of their own hearts about how they feel about things, now all of a sudden you want to start canceling everybody because you don't have the emotional fortitude to deal with the fact that, hey, not everybody's going to like you. Hey, Ben Shapiro, not everybody's going to like you and your folks. Not everybody, we've had to deal with it since day one. It happens. It's okay. You're not going to die. It's all right. Nobody's going to, there's not going to be another Kristallnacht because Whoopi Goldberg said that the Holocaust wasn't about race. And I'm not sure that she was completely wrong. I mean, there were gypsies that got killed, black folks got killed, priests got killed, LGBT people got killed. So
Christians too.
Yeah, I mean, real Christians. I mean, again, remember, it was the church-going Germans who were selling out their Jewish neighbors. So I never want to sweep that under the rug. But this shit is crazy.
Yeah. When we first started the channel, one of the reasons I didn't want to do the channel was because I was worried about how once something is out there, like, it can get used against you and stuff can get twisted. I mean, you just said cocaine was good yesterday. Remember?
Yeah.
There was one of our people, their username was cocaine, and I think they were, possibly going to get, booted out of the stream. And Vinny was like, no, cocaine is good. And if you just took that clip, it's like, oh, so he's in support of cocaine use. There's so much stuff. And the other thing, too, is that people change. And what you think one year is not necessarily what you're going to think next year or the year after. And,
well, yeah.
And I don't like that we want people to give us the benefit of the doubt and give us room to grow and change and become different people. And we understand that we're not the same people as we were last year or the year before.
100%.
Then why can't we give that to everybody else? Why can't we say, well, what's their standpoint now? Because, you know, there were people 10, 15 years ago that were putting out all kinds of racist stuff. And did they have a point where they actually regretted it and there was some reversal of that? Like, does that come into it? Or it's just, oh, they were racist, so they're still a racist now. Well, you know, people change. I didn't even realize that I was a racist when we first met. Like, I thought I was completely, like, not a racist.
Yeah.
But now I look back and I'm like, no, like, I had some racist tendencies then. And I'm sure I probably still have stuff now that I don't even recognize that just, it's just part of who you are because you're raised a certain way and you're in a certain culture and whatever. But people change. You need to have space to be able to change and grow, and we need to give people the space to be able to do that.
It's the same thing with me and the LGBT community, particularly the trans community.
That's true too. I pulled my car over to sign that paper saying that they couldn't get married. And now it's like, well, why are we so focused on them and not, there's a lot of major issues. And why is that the big focus? And yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, that's the point. For me, it's like, you know, I'm glad that we had LGBT and trans, and you know, I'm sure we've done 2,700 videos. I'm sure when the topic comes up, I've said I've stepped into a whole bunch of landmines and all the rest of it.
Yep.
And I've had trans friends on this channel who, what's up, Kels? Who overlooked all of that shit and were saying, you know what, guy's got a good heart. We can educate him as time goes on, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad that I had a community of people that did that to get us to where we are now.
Exactly.
But now we can't do that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't have any pity for Whoopi whatsoever. Zero. Because she's one of these big people that are saying this person should be canceled, that person should be canceled, they shouldn't be on air, yada, yada, yada. And this whole thing where people are going after Joe Rogan is so odd to me. It's so strange. It's like, what the hell?
Why?
I don't even think I've ever seen anything like it. This is, you know what's
happening?
Well,
I haven't seen how they're going after him. Can you explain what's going on, really?
So, for example, Neil Young, who's a like a Hall of Fame type vocalist, singer, artist.
Yeah.
He told Spotify, because that's you know, Rogan signed like $100 million deal.
Oh, is he the one that gave the ultimatum?
Yeah, he said he goes or I go, and I was like, okay, they're joking, obviously. And they were not joking. He was not joking. He was being dead ass serious. So he left Spotify because they're keeping Joe Rogan on, and I'm like, what? And
why? What's the issue with Joe Rogan? Because of his stance on the COVID stuff?
Right. Because. Okay, so for example, ivermectin. See, I think a lot of this is ivermectin was being billed as a treatment for COVID, and then they were saying it was horse, you know, dewormer or whatever. Just all these things where anytime Trump said something, you knew what it was like when Trump was in office.
Oh, yeah.
If he said the sky was blue, all the other media outlets, no, Trump is lying again. He's told all these lies. How come nobody cares about his lies? And I'm like, every politician lies. Like, why all of a sudden is it, you know, and I mean, you know, the derangement stuff. Like, I had a guy in a comment section said that I supported Trump no matter what he does. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? I'm on video saying the man should spend the rest of his life in prison because of January 6th. I don't think there's anybody that's
doesn't
even
count,
gone.
Babe, doesn't count.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, you know, like, he had a doctor on that didn't hold to the mainstream view, and he had a couple that, you know, he had McCullen and Maloney on that didn't hold to. We sat and listened to it. It was but again, it was 3 hours. It wasn't these guys coming on and saying, "Oh, this is dumb," blah, and then leaving like you see a lot with, you know, your friends, you know, like WeKnowTheTruth.org, some weird website. Like, these are obviously credentialed, accomplished, scientifically advanced individuals. One of whom had a hand. I'm not going to say he invented the mRNA. That's ridiculous. But he did have a significant hand and influence in it. And so they were contradicting the party line. But, you know, again.
So he's being accused of spreading misinformation?
Right. Disinformation and misinformation.
What the hell's the difference between mis and dis?
Well, it's your intention.
Oh, okay. I was wondering.
So disinformation basically means you're doing it on purpose. Whereas misinformation is you're just basically...
So Fauci
spinning-
disinformation. He did it on purpose.
Yeah. I don't want to get into my theories on Fauci. Holy shit. But, yeah, he disproportionately platforms opinions that run against the majority. Correct. And look, you know, a lot of people... Here's the problem. Americans, and I really believe what the media did over the last 4 years with Trump almost irredeemably damaged their reputation. All the Russia nonsense, and I was saying it for years, and then people try to tell you were a Trump supporter if you didn't believe the Russia nonsense and all the rest of it, and every time they went, you know, we saw the Mueller testimony and all the rest of it. I just think that the media did such a horrible... They just completely destroyed any and all credibility they had. And then we had these lockdowns, and I forgot what body, I think it was CDC or something, basically came out and said, yeah, the lockdowns really didn't do much to quell the spread of COVID. And you have all these doctors now... hold on, the Great Something Declaration. I forgot the name of it. But Jimmy Dore had him on. And, like, yeah, the Great Barrington Declaration.
Okay.
Where these, you know, 920,000 plus signatures, and it's these epidemiologists and virologists from all over the world.
Said that it did nothing?
Well, they're basically saying... Remember that Bill Gates virologist I was talking to you about? I was listening to him for about 6 hours.
Yeah.
He was essentially saying... We should vaccinate people in the red zone, that's 68 to 76 or something like that. And then people with other, you know, morbidly obese, that type of thing. Deliver groceries to their house. Everybody else who's generally healthy, you should leave to herd immunity. So it's kind of a mixed way of handling the pandemic.
Yeah.
They were saying that lockdowns are going to have severe ramifications for the poor over the next 5 to 10 years. Because you made people not work, right? And so they said it's gonna disproportionately, keeping these measures in place until a vaccine is available will cause irreparable damage with the underprivileged disproportionately harmed, which is absolutely true. Because now you're seeing it when you go shopping. And all the Biden checks have stopped.
It's insane.
So
I can't believe how much groceries are.
Right. And so the other thing was they were talking about the psychological effects of being locked down, and now it's come out that the lockdowns didn't necessarily do.
Oh gosh, really?
Right. So
that's so terrible.
So but we got to have these discussions, but you know, for all the people saying Trump was a fascist, it was sort of, we had this medical sort of fascism where a group of doctors were basically able to say, no, this is a truth. We can't have any discussions. We can't talk about this, yada, yada, yada. And again, I don't believe everything Maloney and McCullough said. And I said over in Middle America, I wish Rogan would have had, let's have a rigorous debate. So you got these two. They're very
I totally agree. Yeah.
Get a mainstream epidemiologist and virologist. Get a mainstreamer versus those two, and fucking debate for 4 hours.
Yep. Yeah,
Make it a live event.
Yep.
If the media wanted to gain credibility, when we were having those presidential, when we were having the elections and we had these so-called debates, have ABC say, okay, Maloney versus this person, McCullough versus this person, a 3-night debate on the virus, and everybody would be watching.
Oh, for sure.
But because you are curating the information and you're trying to marginalize everybody, and then the ivermectin stuff came back as not what you said it was, and you said that we shouldn't wear masks, and then you came out and said you wanted the mask for the healthcare workers, so you lied to us, like. Of course they're going to gravitate to a guy like Joe Rogan. Of course they are. And they don't understand why you know, CNN and like why Rogan is just destroying them in ratings. They don't get it. And Spotify just came out and said, look, we're not a publisher. We're not, you know, whether or not we agree with what Joe Rogan does, we're not going to allow him. We're not going to police it. And, you know, obviously it's the right thing to do for themselves financially, but
wow,
we got to learn. We got to learn.
All right. Well, what did you think of the song?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Negative Vibes. I hear what you're saying, but there's that, and then there's what's going to practically help the most people. Mm-hmm. And the fact that, McCullough and Maloney are 1 to 1,000, and I'm not sure that those are the numbers, to be honest with you, Negative Vibes. When you look at the severity of the lockdowns, it did not affect Sori and I because we work from home, we can do everything from home. But when you look at what it's done financially to people, when you look at what it's done psychologically, we had a friend whose kid ended up in the psych ward, almost died.
Yep. Yep.
Those were all the experts saying that, and now it's coming out that we didn't necessarily need to do the lockdowns to that degree. So people are no longer convinced. The argument from authority, and I think it's there's a right way to use argument for authority and a wrong one, but people are no longer convinced by the argument from authority because the institutional authorities that we've had, again, in the last 4 years, completely destroyed all their credibility. Mm-hmm. So if you're trying to help the most people, then you should have those debates. Mm-hmm. And if it's that clear and obvious, I think it'll be made very, very plain. But the fact that these folks will not countenance a contrary view from medical experts makes other people say, okay, I don't trust you then. Yep. And, you got to account for that. And if you don't account for that, then, we're not gonna get anywhere. What do you give this song?
I'm going with a 7.9.
I like this one a lot. 9.2.
We're not on the same wavelength tonight. Huh? I said we're not on the same wavelength. You gave the other one like a lower score. I gave it a high one, and then we flipped. All right. Well, there you have it, you guys.
I'm sorry to hear that, bro. My mother died from COVID. I can't hardly stand talking about it. Horrible.
Oh, God, Davey.
Horrible. I had a guy. He was one of these hyper right-wing people that was always mocking the virus, and his wife died of COVID. And he took the vaccination then to go see her or whatever, and
they have an 11-year-old or something daughter. She's just young. Ugh.
It was horrible. It was just horrible to see. It's horrible to see.
Oh God, Dwayne. I still have my shirt. Trust the government. Ask an Indian. Yikes. All right, you guys, Arch Enemy is next.
It was a really, really good song, though, lyrically. And I'm glad that the artist, we had, Zombified. Who was the name of that? It was Falling in Reverse.
Oh.
So they did that about cancel culture. I'm glad the artists are coming out and saying it, because they're the last group, man.
Oh, geez, Davey. She was even vaxxed. Oh, that's sad.
Okay. All right, guys.
All right, you guys. Coming back at you in a few moments. Vin out. End it, babe.
Jesus. One day we will have a day where lockdowns will be necessary. I just don't think COVID was it. My mom died from COVID too, and I'm a biochemist who spent most of my adult life in labs making drugs. Damn.
Jeez, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Wow.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I want to hear stuff from people like that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And
exactly.
I want to hear those people's opinions. And if those people's opinions diverge from the religious commitment to, spouting what Fauci was saying. I mean, the last thing I'll say about the Fauci situation, I never, ever believed that COVID originated from a bat in a wet market.
Oh. Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
I would always say a week and a half before COVID really broke out, Trump made China blink on that trade situation. There was a whole jihad between Trump and China. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, we've got this COVID outbreak. That's why I always used to say that.
Yeah. Well, for me, when I heard the bat thing, I was like, what the frick? Remember, like, when we heard all about AIDS and how AIDS was going around, and then there was something about a monkey, and, I was like, well, this sounds like weird. And then, obviously, the Trump thing and everything that he did there, I thought it was highly suspicious as well.
Extremely.
Yeah. And then when we found out there was, like, the Wuhan, what was that? There was a...
The Wuhan coronavirus lab. That's what the fucking... I did a Middle America thing on Jon Stewart, just ripping it to shreds.
It's like, I mean,
That's the only Middle America video that's ever been taken down by YouTube.
really?
Dead ass.
That's messed up,
They
man.
took it down. You know, sometimes they'll like block it and they'll say, cut this out, cut that. They took the fucking thing down. So, my little...
Do with it what you will,
My little
ladies
pissy
and
little,
gentlemen.
my little 7,000 sub
yeah.
channel, yeah.
But
they
they're
took that
they're
down.
taking tabs on that. Okay, whatever. All right, you guys. Arch Enemy is next.
Goth Mama says, our poor bat buddies blamed with shit in December. There were articles coming out of China about sick people in that market they knew. Yeah, I know. Ghost is releasing an entire record on March 11th called Impera. I don't know. We might do a live listen if we can catch up with it. All right, guys. We didn't say goodbye, so I'll just say it for Vin out, Sori out, gone.